Hello and welcome back to Olotita. Welcome back to wholeness. Today we begin our video series on Ashtanga Yoga, and this series is intended for anyone, whether you've never practiced any kind of yoga before or you're a seasoned Ashtanga Yoga practitioner. Eight-limbed yoga or Ashtanga Yoga is a very specific type of yoga, and in this video series we're going to break down every asana that makes up the primary series for you. We're going to do it in a way that helps you understand your body and the anatomy that you live in, helps you learn how to take your yoga practice off of your mat and into your daily life. Before we begin the movement portion of Ashtanga Yoga's primary series, let's first look at the most important components, which are breath, Bandhas, and Drishti. So these might sound like strange Sanskrit names for those of you who've never heard them before. There are aspects of this practice that you do want to get to know very, very intimately because they make up the foundation that you learn to evolve from. In Ashtanga Yoga, we work with some really basic components or movements to help you build a strong foundation. And then with each movement, you add on to another sequence or part of that practice. And that makes up the primary, second, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth series in this particular yoga style. What does that mean? It just means that we slowly work to incorporate movements at your own pace. And this series is really intended for those who either want to create a home practice or who want to maintain a home practice. So with that in mind, really work slowly and at your own pace because this practice is truly created to do that for every single practitioner, whether you go into a class or you're doing this on your own at home. What is important to keep in mind is that you want to always be checking in with a teacher who can help guide your practice and help add postures as necessary or answer questions or help you with alignment or anatomy. So many things. So it is best to try to connect to an Ashtanga Yoga teacher, try to connect to an authorized teacher, and I'll put a link in the description box below for a reputable website, the Institute in Mysore, India, where I hold an authorization to teach this method. It's a place where you can look online no matter what state or country you're in and find teachers who will continue to teach it in this method. And when I say in this method, there's so many different styles of yoga out there nowadays. So the word Ashtanga might be thrown around and people are doing a vinyasa flow or hot flow or power or kundalini. There's so many types. And I want you to know it's very important that you learn what you're doing, that you understand the style of yoga that you're practicing and why you're practicing it that way. And keep in mind too, if this type of yoga doesn't resonate with you, that's okay because there's going to be a yogic style that will work for you. And remember, this practice is supposed to benefit your life and help you in this life. So if you find that it makes you anxious because the movements are too fast or it just in some way doesn't resonate with you, there are different styles or methods of yoga. With that in mind, we begin with this concept of breath. And more than just make sure you're breathing, but how we breathe, why we breathe, and to feel the way the breath works to really help us get deeper into the body and into the mind. It's sort of it's the magic gateway between the body and the mind. So to create an intimate relationship with your breath is very empowering and not just for yoga or movement in general, but for everything in life. So built into this particular practice is a very specific focus on the way in which you breathe. And it is different than the day-to-day diaphragmic breathing that you do kind of unconsciously because it's part of the systems in the body that do the things for us, right? So we're consciously working on the way in which you breathe. Deep breathing with sound. It happens from your throat through your nose. So from the moment that you step on your yoga mat until you take rest at the end of your practice, you want to try to keep your mouth closed and work to breathe through your nose. For those of you who are new to this work, it takes practice. And for those of you who are seasoned in it, hopefully this video will help just to remind you of some of the things that you do daily anyway. And so as we begin to focus on deep breathing with sound, contemplate this idea of bringing air from your lowest or pelvic floor region all the way up to your throat at your glottis. Again, as you keep your mouth closed, yes, the breath goes in and out of your nostrils, but it's not where the work happens. So you're not trying to pull up the breath from your nose, you're actually trying to pull the breath from your throat. It, again, takes time to get connected to this movement, but when we talk about bandhas in a moment, it pulls it all together a bit. So I just want you to take a moment and begin to think about your lower pelvic floor as you begin with your mouth closed to bring that breath all the way up to your throat. You're trying to do it slowly and rhythmically, not as fast as you can, but as long and as controlled as you can. And once you can't take any more air into your body, then with your mouth closed, try to start exhaling from your throat through your nose in the same rhythmic fashion. And as I keep talking, maybe try working on this breath exercise. It's a very rhythmic experience, and that in and of itself is relaxing to the nervous system and to the body and the mind as a whole. And the work of bringing oxygen into your body, which then transfers into carbon dioxide that you exhale, again, chemically, on a neurological level inside your brain, things are changing, things are happening. You are oxygenating your body. And so just that alone is really good work. And just doing breath work throughout the day, if you're at your desk at work or in your car during rush hour, I promise the practice of deep breathing with sound will help to bring you down to a more calm and more balanced state, or just help to energize you if you're feeling tired or feeling stressed or just anxious. So do this breath work as I keep working with you on the other aspects of this practice today. So next we're going to talk about bandhas. Bandhas are very, very important components of this practice. And it's another Sanskrit word. It means a root or a lock. There are three main bandhas that we're going to discuss today. We're going to talk about why we use them, how we use them, and how they help us in our yogic practice. And they're more energetic than they are physical, but they are physical. What I mean by that is the work we're doing on a physical or a tangible three-dimensional level by engaging certain areas of our body helps to activate energetic locks as well. We're trying to move energy, right? So we're going to use three-dimensional pieces of our body to move energy. And when we move energy, we're creating more and more energy. And that energy is what we really want to tap into later in later stages of yogic practice. But we have to use this vehicle of the three-dimensional body to train the body and then train the mind. So keep in mind that yes, we're working with real tangible constructs, but we're also working with very, very fifth dimensional ideas as well, vibration, energy. And as we do that, think about each lock that we're going to activate taps an energetic component, but it is also doing more physically throughout the body as well. So Mula Bandha. Mula Bandha is the beginning. Mula Bandha is your pelvic floor. Your pelvic floor is the seat. And it's very important that we create a strong foundation to this seat or this root lock. And in breathing with sound that we're working on as we focus on closing our mouth and breathing through our nose, we're engaging Mula Bandha by gently squeezing the pelvic floor. So if you are a mother and you've ever practiced Kegel exercises, it's very similar to this idea of squeezing the Kegels. But essentially, everyone's energetic root lock is close to the anal sphincter muscles. So whether you're a man or you're a woman, you're trying to activate gently the anal sphincter muscles to create upward pulling of movement, of energy. But you're also creating a very strong pelvic floor at the same time. So whether you're a man or a woman, I promise as we age, this is a really beneficial perk to working with these energetic and physical locks in the body. So as you work on this breath, start to focus on gently squeezing your pelvic floor, again, around your anal sphincter muscles, but again, not really hard, not really strong. It's more right now of a concept. You're thinking about it. So with every in-breath, you're thinking about your pelvic floor. And once you can't take any more oxygen through your nose, from your throat, begin to push the air back down. And I don't want you to think about that pelvic floor. I want you to think about what your body's doing. And notice if your navel starts to press to your spine as you push the breath down and out through your nose from your throat. Now, working again with that breath. And inhale, you're squeezing your pelvic floor as you draw the air up through your body. And as you exhale, just notice what's happening around your navel. If you're feeling a gentle engagement or a pushing, almost like a squeezing of a sponge to get all the water out, that is your abdominal cavity doing its job, and that is Uddiyana Bandha. Uddiyana Bandha is your navel lock. And your navel lock is something that you breathe through when you breathe in, and you breathe through when you breathe out. You're not as focused on it on the inhale, and really, it should happen naturally on the exhale if you're breathing correctly from your throat through your nose. But your conscious awareness of it should be on the exhale as it's doing its job to engage the musculature to continue to push not only the breath, but the energy back down towards Mula Bandha so you can start this pattern all over again. And last but certainly not least is Jalandhara Bandha, which is your throat lock. Jalandhara Bandha we'll look at a lot more with pranayama practice, which is another limb of Ashtanga Yoga. It's a very dedicated breathwork practice. Asana, as we talk about it in components to breath and bandhas, is here to prepare us for deeper work. Jalandhara Bandha, typically you work to bring the skin of your chin to the skin of your chest and pull up on your glottis, and that's locking that energy. So you're holding Mula Bandha, your pelvic floor, you're holding your throat lock, and then as you hold your breath, you're really locking that in and you're creating massive amounts of energy. But we don't do that in yoga. We breathe in and we breathe out. There's no kumbhaka, there's no retention. And for that reason, we're just breathing up to the place of Jalandhara Bandha, to the throat, to the glottis, and then consciously pushing it back down. So it's not as if we're fully locking Jalandhara Bandha as we move through asana, not even in down dog, which some teachers may teach you to do. That's way too much strain on your cervical spine. But it's something I want you to be aware of and work with in your asana practice because it energetically is very important to understand and know it exists to prepare you to go deeper in this work. And now we come to our Drishtis, or our gaze points, our focal points in our asana practice. When we work with contemplative or mindfulness practices, there is this idea of our focus. In yoga, we talk about our focus being where we gaze, but why? It's to direct our intentional inner mind. Because if you eventually get control of the body in these movements, and then you eventually get really strong in these movements, you need a place to always be directing your attention. And if you're focusing on your fingers, for example, if your arm is overhead, it's creating physical stretching and engagement and oppositional force, which we want in our asana practice. But the direction of our eyes also helps us to focus our mind so that we aren't focusing on the distracting things around the room, my dog's in the background, or the sounds of birds chirping. We're focusing on that gaze point. So it's just a tool for us in our asana practice if we're trying to utilize the asana practice as a moving meditation. So this is where I want to say to my advanced yogis and yoginis out there, especially if you've been practicing for a very long time, I invite you to revisit your connection and relationship to your drishtis in your asana practice, because it's always a place you can go a lot deeper in. And if you feel you're pretty sufficient and you feel really strong in your yogic asanas, going deeper in your focus on your drishtis will make a huge difference and transform you to that next level with your practice, which I know we're all always looking for. And for my new students out there, again, knowing these things exist and hearing them as I start to talk about the yogic movements, just be aware of them. And know as you get more refined in your ability to connect to your body and your breath and your movements, we'll add in these additional wonderful tools that help you go further. So now for the really fun part. We're going to begin breaking down the asanas that make up Ashtanga Yoga. I briefly mentioned before the word Ashtanga Yoga, 8-limbed yoga, Ashta meaning 8, Anga meaning limb. But what does that mean? And where do yogic movements fall in play? Asana, or the yogic movement portion that most of us know to be yoga, that is the third limb of Ashtanga Yoga. First comes yama, and then niyama. Those are practices of how we treat self, our relationship to ourself, and how we treat others in the world around us. In this particular yoga style, we begin with the asanas. We then work with pranayama and go even deeper into states of contemplation or meditation. But why? And why don't we begin with the yamas and niyamas? My personal perspective on this is that the asanas help to train us. They help to train the monkey mind that we have. It's constantly darting from thought to thought. As I've said before, we have over 50,000 subconscious thoughts every single day. And so when we work with three-dimensional constructs like our body, we can work to train the mind, the body, and the breath, and the benefits are insane. We can get flexible and strong and more agile and have more balance and agility and stamina and endurance and a peaceful mind, more mindfulness, more connection to source. It goes on and on and on. So it doesn't matter why you might come to yoga. If you stay a while, I promise you'll have a lot more to enjoy than just what you started for. And with that in mind, it's so important to understand that the asanas, do enjoy them and work in them because they're here to help us recreate some construct of self. The construct of self being our relationship to our body or our relationship to our mind. So as you work with the movements, always try to be mindful in them. And that is a piece I'm going to be bringing to this channel. We're going to talk about functional anatomy, movement in space, how to hold your body, not just when you're doing yoga movements. The movements that we teach are tools. The sequence that we learn, it's a tool. It's a tool for you to take into your everyday awareness, physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And yoga asana as the third limb, well, when we do it for a long period of time, what happens? The yamas and the niyamas begin to truly reshape and evolve as well. So trusting the process is important. And once you're really curious about the philosophy of yoga, then you begin to study and deepen your understanding of these yamas and niyamas, which I promise we'll be bringing to you soon. In this yoga series, we're going to focus less on the philosophy and more on the asana or the third limb, but there is more. There is so much more, and we will continue to bring you more of it as well. Once we get through a little bit more of the asana portion of the sequence, we will begin looking at pranayama practice. We're already working with contemplation and meditation and other videos. And as you keep staying present and continuing to get to your mat, you will begin to see that you change because of it. And then your relationship to yourself, how you treat yourself, your relationship to the world, it all begins to change. And that's when the journaling comes in. That's when the meditation really comes in. But I only encourage you, if you're a new student to this work, that you give yourself a chance, really give yourself 30 days, several days a week, even if you're just starting with the breathing aspect of this practice. So now the sun salutations, or Surya Namaskara A. In Ashtanga Yoga, we always start with sun salutations to begin our practice. So you could think about it physically as like your warm-up. It helps us to really not only physically get the body warm, but it helps to move the energy, right? So remember, we're not just moving in space. We're adding this component of breathing in these bandhas, and they create a lot more energy than if you were just to do movements without them. And with that in mind, these sun salutations really begin the practice in a very powerfully energetic way. We can look at the history. We can look at the philosophy. We can look at all these pieces, and we can in future videos because it's beautiful, because where this practice originated, it is sort of a salute to the sun and waking up to a day in a place of gratitude. So if you want to connect to those aspects with sun salutations, I invite you to do so because I sure do. And it's part of this practice. But if you want to look at the pure physical aspects of it, we're going to break it down for you today in a way that you can go step by step. We're going to offer you variations to this sequence so that no matter where you are, no matter where your body is right now, you can access this stuff. And most importantly, we're going to look at how to hold your body in space so you understand that we're really trying to maintain that alignment no matter what contorted position we work to get our body in. So I want you to hold on to that thought as well. Sun Salutation A is really special and unique because it's made up of 9 movements or 9 vinyasas. Vinyasa, again, a Sanskrit word, it kind of just means breathing with movement. So the idea of movement with breath is really the component of the entirety of Ashtanga Yoga. We're always moving with breath. There's always a vinyasa in between. So you're going to hear me say that word a lot. And what that just means is there's 9 movements that we're going to break apart for you, and you work at your pace, as fast or as slow as you want. And remember that the important thing to keep in mind is the breath, the way you're utilizing your breath, the bandhas, that you're engaging them, where you're looking, and how you're holding your body in space. And if you really focus on those main components, the rest comes, meaning the strength, the flexibility, the endurance, the stamina, the agility, the balance. It all comes when you focus on those components of this practice and you keep doing the work, meaning you just keep rolling out your mat every day until one day you find, well, that's easier. And then you can go to a variation that's a little bit more challenging for you. And once you've mastered this aspect of Ashtanga Yoga, well then, congratulations, because it's hard. It takes effort. It takes energy. It takes a lot of will, especially if you're trying to create a daily practice at home where you have to be accountable for yourself. So I'm really proud of you for taking the time to watch this video today. And remember, as we break down the movements for you, go at your own pace and have fun. Don't judge yourself in any step of the way because it doesn't matter where you are right now. I promise you it doesn't matter where you are. You can get to where you want to be as long as you keep putting in the work. The Sun Salutation A, it's a sequence of 9 movements. Each movement has its own designated inhale or exhale, hence vinyasa, breath with movement. So there are 9 specific movements that you flow through on an inhale or an exhale to get to down dog. And once you get to that position, you're going to hold that for 5 deep breaths before you then finish your Surya Namaskara A and then begin your next one. Because in Ashtanga, we traditionally practice 5 Surya Namaskara A and 3 to 5 Surya Namaskara B. Keep in mind, as I show you different variations, they're here as variations to help you if you don't have the strength or stamina or endurance that you need right now. But we're utilizing these particular modifications so that you can continue to hold your spine in space properly, continue to maintain your breath, your bandhas, and your engagement. If you strain too much or try to do too much too fast, you will not remember to breathe. You certainly won't remember where to look, and especially in sun salutations, especially moving into a low plank position, you're going to drop your head, and that changes the position of your cervical and your lumbar spine. So then we take our body out of the plane and space that we want it in to have a beautiful flow with the body in the practice. So keeping that in mind, especially if you're at home alone, take out any ego in your practice and really work with where right now you feel strongest, and then baby steps to slowly go to the next variation. And don't get frustrated if the harder variation is not something you're ready for yet. You will be if you keep getting to your mat and practicing, I promise. Before we get started with my yoga demonstration, you may notice some discrepancies between function on my right and left shoulder, or some scars in my body from different angles. And if you're curious about that, there's a link in the description box below for the full story and where I am with that. So now we begin the practice portion, where you get to practice Sun Salutation A on your own. Beginning at the top of your mat with your feet together and your arms by your side. Standing nice and tall with your chest lifted, your head pulled up, your shoulders drawn down your back. Really focusing on your breath, focusing on your bandhas as you stand here in space, trying to maintain that alignment in your body and noticing how easy it is to breathe. And let's begin. Inhale, raise your arms, bring your palms together, look up to your fingers. Exhale, fold forward, tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale, lengthen your spine, look forward. Exhale, step your feet back and begin to drop to your knees. Bend the elbows back as you lower your body down to the floor. Inhale, pressing through your hands, push into upward facing dog. Exhale, press your body back into downward facing dog, where we'll hold this movement for 5 deep breaths. Make sure your hands and feet are pressing into the floor. Spread your fingers out wide. Begin to work on that breath pattern. Slow, steady inhales and exhales from your throat through your nose, squeezing Mula Bandha. Your eyes are wide open and you're pressing your head towards your hands, trying to traction your neck, your cervical spine. At the very end of your fifth exhale, walk your feet to your hands, pushing your hands down or into your shins. Lift your torso. Exhale, bend your body forward and fold. Pushing through your feet, begin to raise your arms and press your palms up. And exhale, arms by your side, back to Samasthita or equal standing posture. Take a breath or two here, just resetting now. As we begin our next Sun Salutation A, if you want, continue with the modification of dropping your knees to the floor. You can try this in a full plank position. Remember, it is a bit more challenging. 1, inhale, raise your arms, press your palms together, look up to your fingers. Exhale, 2, fold forward, hinge from your hips, tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale, 3, lengthen your spine, look forward. Exhale, 4, step to exhale as you lower down into Chaturanga Dandasana. 5, inhale to upward facing dog, lengthen through your spine, lift your chest. 6, exhale, press back into downward facing dog. 5 deep breaths. Looking towards your navel as you continue to traction your head towards your hands. Eyes are open, breath is steady, continue to focus on Mula Bandha. Pressing those fingers into the floor. Oxygenate your body. Take one more deep breath here. At the very end of your fifth breath, 7, exhale, walk or jump your feet to your hands, look forward, inhale. 8, exhale, fold forward, tuck your chin to your chest. 9, inhale, raise your arms, palms touch, look to your fingers, stretch your arms up. Exhale, Samasthita. Beautiful job. Take a couple breaths here. Just reset your body, reset your center. We're going to practice this again, and this time I'm going to count in Sanskrit, just like I did before, but you'll hear the Sanskrit numbers instead. And as I do so, let that help you maintain the rhythm of your breath and the rhythm of your movement. Because remember, this breath with movement, that's what we're seeking. Forget about perfection. The perfection lies in how you breathe as you move this body. Inhale, Ekam, raise your arms, palms touch, look thumbs. Exhale, do a fold forward, chin to chest. Inhale, Trini, look forward, lengthen your spine. Exhale, Chatwari, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Pancha, upward facing dog. Exhale, Shat, downward facing dog. Nabhi Drishti, look towards your navel. You're tractioning your neck though. Keep pulling your head towards your hands as you stretch your eyes towards the navel. Pushing your hands into the mat. Lengthening your spine, pushing your feet down and out. Ground the body and create oppositions in all 4 corners and all your fingers and toes. Take one more deep breath here. At the end of your 5th exhale, Sapta, walk or jump your feet to your hands. Inhale, look forward. Ashtau, exhale, fold forward. Naval, inhale, raise your arms, palms touch, look to your thumbs. Samasthita. Great job, guys. So you've completed 3 Surya Namaskara A, or 3 Sun Salutation A. And I want you to take 2 more on your own. Try to follow the rhythm of your breath and your movement. Try to focus on how you're breathing in and out of your body and when. Where are you looking? What are you pushing into or out of? How are you trying to create activation and opposition in your body so you feel control and balance and strength? And as you work with your breath and your bandhas, only focus on right now what you're doing with your body and your movements, and let the rest of the day completely disappear for right now. I hope today's video was very helpful, not only educational, but inspirational. This is really tangible for all of us, including you. If you're brand new to this practice, just keep showing up. We'll be posting videos every single week for you to go deeper and deeper into this specific type of yogic practice, the asana portion. And the Sun Salutations is just the beginning. Next time we're going to look at Surya Namaskara B, and after that we're going to begin the standing sequence, and then we'll move into the seated sequence and the finishing sequence. There's so much ahead to enjoy in this asana portion of Ashtanga Yoga. I hope that today's video is something that you'll be able to replay as you work to build your home practice. And I hope you enjoy every step of the way. Remember, it's your journey. It's all yours. These are tools for you to enjoy that. So be proud of yourself for the work that you've done today. As homework for you, until next week, make sure that you work on your Surya Namaskara A. Try to work up to 5 of them, and try to do it at least 3 days between now and next week. And when I see you again next week, we're going to build onto the foundation that we started today. Every time you get to your mat, you're not only doing great work for your soul, you're doing great work for your body. You're helping to realign your body. You're helping to get yourself stronger. And it all translates into more awareness, more mindfulness, more empowerment, and a whole lot more gratitude. When we feel good in the body we're in, life feels pretty good. So I'm here to help you feel good. This is one wholeness practice that we cherish at Olotita, and we're excited to be bringing you again. So until next time, my friend, namaste.